Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maddie and today I'm going to be giving you guys specific book recommendations that you asked for. I went onto my Instagram and here on YouTube community posts to ask for specific romance book recommendations and I tried my best. So I've got a lot of books to talk about. And please remember, I can only read so fast, so some of these books I have recommended before, or I've talked about them in recent vlogs or reading wrap-ups. I'm just gonna get right into it with the first request, and that is, I recently discovered Dungeons and Drama and now want to read more nerdy romance, maybe something with video games. I'm gonna keep this one very fast, very simple. I think you cannot go wrong with Hali Wazelwood and her nerdy STEM. All of the books that she has written revolve around something nerdy in the best way possible. But specifically video games, she did have a short novella come out called Two Can Play, where two rival video game companies have to come together to recreate an old video game, and they go on this like ski trip together. It's a little odd, but it does revolve around video games. And again, I don't think you can go wrong with an Hali Wazelwood book. I mean, literally, like, Check and Mate is about two chess players. It can't get much nerdier than that, and I love it. This next recommendation I'm also going to breeze through because these are two very popular books and I want to get to some other books in the recommendations. A romance book where they go on fun dates like going to an arcade, carnival, etc. Something more than just dinner/movie dates. These books were two of my top favorites from last year, Just for the Summer and Daydream by Hannah Grace. Justin and Emma agree to go on 4 dates with each other to see if they can break a curse. And I won't say much more because honestly, if you haven't read this book yet, I highly recommend it. It's such a beautiful read. Besides the comedy and the really great humor that's in this book, it's really deep and touches on some really deep character themes. And now Daydream, Hali is an aspiring author, and to kind of give her some experience in romance, Henry, her friend, takes her on a few dates to kind of give her that experience for her writing material. Super cute. Absolutely love this series. Opposites attract, but they know each other through a mutual friend. They just haven't had a chance to like hang out yet. This one's a dark romance, okay? Hexed by Emily McIntyre. This is also a part of a series, but you can read them separately. You don't have to read them in order. This is her most recent release, and Hexed is a fractured fairy tale based off The Little Mermaid. We have Vanessa, who is the niece of a gang lord and kind of does all of his dirty work, and then we have Enzo, who is the heir of a gang. I don't know a better way to word that. They do know each other through a mutual someone, and I don't want to say who that is because it's a big part of the plot and it could be a spoiler. But the tension between these two, Enzo's a little broody and judgmental and very standoffish, where Vanessa is super bubbly and sweet, but she has a darker side, and you get to see that in this book as well. So keep in mind that it is dark romance, a lot of darker themes, things happening, maybe some blood, guts, and I mean, they're in a family of gang members, so you gotta keep that in mind. And the next recommendation I have is The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford. I know this is extremely popular. I've talked about it forever on my channel. It's one of my favorite books of all time. Ryan and Indy, complete opposites. Indy is so bubbly. She's into romance books. She's into romance in general and candy and bright colors. And it's just, she is a rainbow herself, where Ryan is completely opposite and so clean and strict and type A. And they work so well together. And they did meet through a mutual friend. Well, mutual someone. So, an office romance. Now, I don't read a lot of office romance books. When I was trying to find some books for this video, I was like, I really don't. I just read Praise by Sarah Kate, which is set in an office and extremely spicy and very erotic, but a little unusual one. And this one also a bit popular, but I don't see it talked about a lot here on BookTube, is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Yasmin and Josiah own a restaurant together, but they are recently divorced. So they are kind of that forced proximity, forced to work within the restaurant together and run this restaurant together, but they're also walking on eggshells because they are not together anymore. This is a different romance. You're going into it, they already have kids, they've already had a romance built up for years and years and then recently got divorced. You're watching the second chance unfold. It is beautifully done. It is spicy, and I did not know how spicy it was going into it and did not expect it, but it is pretty dang spicy. These two have amazing chemistry. They are working together still and don't want to give their kids false hope of getting back together. There's a lot of things going on in this book. This is like a unique take on the office romance because it's not in an office, it's in a restaurant. Past best friends that end up together later in life, or childhood friends to lovers kind of thing. This one, I have not talked about this book since 2022, before we were strangers. Quick, easy little palette cleanser and so poetic and cute, but also heartbreaking. I would say out of all of these second chance romances that I've read, this one still takes the cake. Like, this is still first, in my opinion, for that specific trope. Matt and Grace went to college together and they actually lived in the same dorm building, so they ran into each other frequently, and I believe on the first day of college they had to help each other move in, or of that, I don't remember the exact details, but something of the sort. And I just remember the way Matt describes the first time he sees Grace. But unfortunately, they lose touch for 15 years. Something happens. They don't talk to each other again. But then 15 years later, Matt is like, where is she? Like, I wonder what she's doing right now. I wonder where she is in life. Reaches out to her via forum. So he goes on this anonymous forum, types a little note to her, and is like, I pray that she sees this or gets to her somehow. It does. Again, it's heartbreaking. So be aware. And just to throw out some more recommendations within this trope, please, if you have not read Finding, Keeping, Redeeming, Saving, and Taming, all of the numbers, these books, I'll put them on the screen. You have to read this series. It's so beautiful, so good. Specifically, Saving and Redeeming 6, they are childhood best friends to lovers, and then Taming 7 specifically, they're like baby best friends all the way to high school lovers. Like, they have been together forever. So that series in general does have a lot of that best friends to lovers kind of trope, and it's so well done. But I will say beware of that series as well. It's very tragic and sad. Lots of trigger warnings, so look those up if those bother you. Now this one is more interesting, so I'm going to read it. Any recommendations for recent books with virgin female main characters? People keep saying it's so widespread, but apart from the older books that I have already read, there isn't much being released nowadays. I have to recommend, because I read this recently, June 1st by Jennifer Hartman. That book... So here's the thing. If you're asking for a virgin book with no spice, June 1st is not for you. But if you're looking for a virgin through most of the book and she loses her virginity within the book and there is spice, that's June 1st. So I'm going to recommend June 1st for that side of things, so a little bit spicy. Our main character, June, falls in love with her... It's such a tough... I can't even phrase it that way because it's gonna come out so bad. Falls in love with someone she's grown up with. And I don't want to say anything else about that trope or this book, but it's a beautifully well written book with some very complex familial things they have to work through. So recommend it. Look up trigger warnings if it bothers you, but she was a virgin throughout the most of the book. We're gonna get into a little bit of a speed round now that I've gotten through majority of them, but I have a few more. New Parents or Newborns, again another series, but oh no, it's at the bottom. Reckless by Elsie Silver, Winter and Theo. Theo Silva is still my favorite man out of the Chestnut Springs series. So understanding and filled to the brim with empathy and just like the most amazing male character there is. The very beginning opens up with Winter and Theo. They have a one-night stand and something happens after, and I'm guessing like regarding this trope you know what that is, but the way that it's introduced in this book and the way that they go around handling the situation, top tier. Winter is a bitch. She's prickly and kind of a hard person to be around, but Theo just softens her right up. Does not put up with any of her shit and doesn't let her be prickly towards him. It's the cutest, it's the best dynamic, and there's a newborn in it, so. But the way Theo steps up in that situation, romantic suspense. Now this one's interesting because I don't read a lot of romantic suspense, like at all. Okay, so this is the only thing I could think of. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I loved it. Listen for the lie. Our main character is suspected of murdering her best friend, but when a podcaster wants to reopen her case and kind of help her solve who actually murdered her friend, the podcaster dude and the suspected murderer end up in cahoots in more ways than one. So that is that romantic suspense? This is not a romance book. It's more mystery, thriller, suspense. Tiniest quarter teaspoon of romance in there. A slow burn book. Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a young adult book, so it kind of has to be slow burn. There's not much romance or touchy-feely stuff going on at all. But you guys, Wes in this book reminds me so much of Jess from Gilmore Girls, and I said that in my Goodreads review, but he just so sassy and kind of mean towards our main female character, but because he liked her. And it's cute. It's really cute. They are kind of, it's like the tiniest bit of fake dating involved, but not really. It's just a lot of pining, a lot of high school drama, and a lot of high school friend group tension. So it was cute. It is a slow burn. They don't get together till the very end. Thoroughly enjoyed it for a young adult book and for what it was. Looking for that feeling I got when I read The Right Move by Liz Tomford. Me too. I'm still looking for that feeling, so I don't even have a book or a recommendation for you really. Rewind It Back comes out soon, so keep that in mind. But other sport romance books that are in a series, I think do very, very similar things to what Liz Tomford's books do. So Elle Kennedy, her books I absolutely adore and love, and her characters are deep. They are all going through something very traumatic or trying to work through things personally. Hannah Grace, Icebreaker, Wildfire, and Daydream. They don't quite give me the same feelings that Liz Tomford does. Hers, I think Hannah Grace's are more cozy sports in a way. Or Chestnut Springs even by Elsie Silver, like that whole series, you just get so close with those characters, and I think that's one of the big things that I love about Windy City is you get to know the characters and they're so involved in the other books. So standalone romance series where like books you can read by themselves, but they're better read together. Like those are what you're looking for. Kennedy Ryan, she does some good sports romance ones. A sports romance, because I recently read it, please read Deep End by Hali Hazelwood. Might be my favorite book from her. Like I really need to reread The Love Hypothesis, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I gave Deep End 4.5 out of 5 stars, but I might like Deep End more. It's a little kinky, but depth behind Scarlet was one of my favorites in a female main character in Hali Wazelwood? Hali Hazelwood's books. Hali Wazelwood. I'm gonna start saying that from now on. Enemies to lovers with no spice. I have said it so many times on my channel. Enemies to lovers is not even real in romance books. It's not real. No one is an enemy. Not at all. Okay? But this one, Better Than the Movies, technically enemies to lovers. They don't like each other. They're like neighbor nemesises. Like they don't like each other at all. But actually they do. They've had a, he's had a crush on her for years, whatever. I don't think that's actually a thing in romance, but I did a whole video talking about no spice romance books that you can go watch, and I'll link that down in the description below because I bet there are some enemies to lovers romances recommended in that video. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Support my channel. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.